Morning, my listeners. Welcome to Portsea Mixed Tea. It's a wonderful channel where you can have a mixture of poetry and talk, where you yourself can make a comment if you want to. And I would love you to subscribe to my channel and to share the video and to like the channel if you do like the content that you're hearing. It's lovely to be here with you, and it's wonderful to have you listen to the things that I'm willing to talk to you about today. Today, we're going to talk about isn't nature wonderful? And I'm going to speak about a few things that I've noticed in my garden that is very relevant to us today. Thank you. And the first thing I will say to you is it just me? The first poem I'm going to have to talk to you about today it's called The Bee, and it goes like this. Every bee comes to eat from this lovely feast. What a powerful scene to have such a great meal. They move from flower to flower to pollinate the other. Analyzing what they've done, there is a buzz in the trade in this food chain. The bees provide their honey to make money. Ha ha! No, that is not funny. To have a warm piece of brown toast and lashings of honey is worth more than money. I hope you like that poem. I wrote it because of the things I'm going to discuss now. It's called Isn't Nature Wonderful? Wanted to speak to you about the various insects that I've seen in my garden. Since living in my house, I've come across many things, and I'm wondering what is next. Because there's so many different insects that I've come across. I can name a few: woodlouse, grasshoppers, wasp, ants, bees, birds, wonderful birds I've noticed in my garden. And I've even come across a fox. And at one point I thought I saw a wolf, but I may have been mistaken with that one. Anyway, the first time I realized that there are a variety of insects and animals in the area that I live was when 2 years ago I went out into the garden to trim the grass. I was there happily using the strimmer because I've only got a small garden. The rest of it is paved, but I love the greenery of grass. And where my garden is, there's a beautiful hydrangea flower that I always wanted in my garden. So I tend to keep the garden nice and low just to showcase that hydrangea, because it's only a small one, but it's lovely when it flowers. Anyway, as I was cutting along the grass and I got halfway, I saw something jump and I'm thinking, what is that? So, I looked around, I couldn't see anything, but then I just carried on strimming. But then I saw a few things jumping. I'm thinking, what is going on here? So I threw down the strimmer and ran. Well, I couldn't call it ran. I would say I hobbled away from the area, down my garden steps, ran into my house as best I could, and shut the door because I was thinking, whatever it is, it's coming along. So I went in and I sat down for a while and I said, right, I have to go back out there because if it rains, my strimmer will be ruined. So I went back out and I looked around to make sure there was nothing. And I got there and I pick up the lawnmower, the strimmer, and I quickly start to wind it around so that, and then so that it could be plugged out and put in the house, cleaned off and put in the house. And as I turned, I looked, and there on the path was a small baby grasshopper. I was in a state of shock. And when I looked, I could see a lot more of them jumping around, trying to find a place to get back into the grass. I didn't want to hurt them. I felt really scared, to be honest with you, but I didn't want to hurt them. So I went on the internet quickly, look at ways that I could get rid of them without harming them. And there was an article that said if you use boil the ginger, not the ginger, boil the garlic up and put it in bottle and squirt the grass, they will move on to another garden. So I attempted that, and I did that for a few weeks. The garden was stunk of garlic, but to be fair to you, I could see that they had moved on. I don't know where they went, but some of them had moved on. And as I looked, I realized that some had gone round the front of my garden. Yeah, they'd gone round to the front. So some was now at the front of my house, and the ones in the back garden had all disappeared. That takes about a few weeks, about 4 or 5 weeks before they all went from the back. But as I was doing that, I also noticed that there was a lot of bees that was coming into my garden because of all the wonderful flowers that I had at the front of my garden. So they'd come and they'd move from flower to flower, pollinating each other, And I could sit there at times and I watched them, and sometimes they take a piece of the flower in their wherever it's their mouth or whatever, and they'd fly off somewhere with it in their mouth. So, I just thought it was so wonderful that these creatures, God's creatures, are so looking after our planet by pollinating the flowers, the food chain, and all that. So it's just wonderful. I just felt like I needed to speak about it because I thought it was a wonderful sight to behold, to see them doing that. So the question I need to ask you now, is it just me? Or has it happened to you? Have you noticed anything in your garden that would be wonderful to hear about? I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you so much for listening to my poem and to my talk. And please, if you like what you hear, please like the channel, share it, and subscribe to my channel. And hit the notification bell because I try to make sure that I do this on a regular basis, talk to the public on a regular basis. I'm going to put a video in of my garden and some of the bees, so I hope you will like it. Until next week, is it just me? Thank you.